Hello, welcome to Ask the Chief. My name is Antonio Stitt. I'm the Chief of Police, and just going to give you a little background about what we do and what we will be doing on this new show. Basically, coaching and mentoring parents about how to become better and how to give new concepts and ideas about how to better manage our kids today and to give them the tools they're going to need to be successful in life, with or without our assistance. Throughout the shows, we'll be taking calls and getting your feedback and your opinion. You can ask me questions live, and I'll give you my feedback and my opinions and concepts about how we can become better and how we can all, as a team, become better parents to raise our kids. Okay, we're going to take our first call. Hello, this is Ask the Chief. Hello, this is Ask the Chief. Is anybody there?
Hi, I would like to ask the Chief a question.
Okay. How are you today?
The question I have for the Chief is, if you have a couple that's separated and they have a son, and their son goes between the two houses, and the two people have already said that they were going to have the same rules at each house, what happens when you find out that the rules are not being followed in one of the houses? How do you handle that with the son?
Well, the first thing would be you would have to sit down with the other parent and have some conversation. Always know that communication is the key to everything. So I will begin first by trying my best to have conversation with the other parent and see if we can get on the same page, on the same accord about how we're going to proceed from that point. If that does not work, remember, you can only control the environment in your home. You will have to focus then, at that point, on making sure the environment in your home is conducive for your child's development, and because you can't control what happens in somebody else's house. So from that point, once you realize that you cannot get on one accord with the spouse or with the other parent, you have to focus on only controlling the environment in your home. And after that, then it's going to be what it's going to be. But you cannot control the environment in another person's home.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
That was a very good question, and it's much more to say on that topic. You know, of course, we're over the air, and I couldn't really get into it there. But I talk about it some in our book, Change the Parent, Change the Child. But that takes a lot of communication and a lot of becoming on one accord with the parent, and you have to really understand that, you know, I wouldn't want anybody telling me how to run my house. So if you have a situation like that, the first thing you have to do is try to communicate with the other parent to see if we can come to some kind of mutual agreement on how our child is going to be raised, and what is the concept, what is the focal point, what is the long-term objective of raising this child. We want our child to have the positive skills they're going to need to be successful in life, and again, with or without our assistance. So overall, if we get on that same page about what our objective is to give our child the best tools they're going to need to be successful, then that is one of the foundational things we want to establish with the other parent. If that does not work, you can only focus on your home. Make sure the environment in your home is conducive for your child's development. It has to be order, structure, consistency, accountability. All these things are very important, and in the long run, your child will gravitate to those things. So that's all you can do for that point. We'll take another call. Today?
I'm okay, and yourself?
Just fine. What's your question?
Well, I bought your book, Change the Parent, Change the Child, about a year ago, and also attended your workshop, which was awesome. I was saying to myself, oh my goodness, this sounds just like me. My eyes had opened to all the mistakes that I had been making with my son, not holding him accountable for his actions. My question to you is, he's 17 years old now. How do I fix this? Is it too late?
No. At 17, he's about to be an adult, but no, it's not too late. There are some things that you can do to correct whatever has happened. Once you determine what you want to do and how you want to correct the issues, first you must establish a new set of standards. And again, it takes communication. You must sit down with your child, have a conversation about how we're going to proceed from this point. And you must establish boundaries, accountability, and responsibility. You have to begin by holding your son accountable for everything they say and everything they do. It would take much more, than I can say right now over the air and talking to you. But if you've been to our workshops, I'm sure you've heard a lot more about what we do. But off the cuff, it would take communication, because it's almost unfair to change the rules to the game in the middle of the game. If it's been this way for so long and your son has been a certain way for a certain amount of time, to be fair, you would have to sit down with them and explain why things are going to change before you begin this change. That's the beginning of it. And we would talk more about it another time, but that's the beginning of it. Communication has to happen first, because now you want to change and do things differently. So you must communicate with him and make him understand why things are going to change and why they have to change. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
That is a very, very good question. Very good question. Many parents have called in and spoken to me on our workshops about that very thing. They read the book and they realize now that they've made mistakes, but now they're sitting here with this 15, 16, 17-year-old child, and they want to correct a problem, but they don't know how to begin. And again, it begins by communication. You first sit down and you explain why things have to change, that you understand now that your responsibility is to prepare your child to be successful in life with or without your assistance. And I always say that because that is so very, very important for parents to understand. Your responsibility as a parent is to prepare your child to be successful in life with or without your assistance. That means your son or daughter must be raised with these foundational tools such as integrity, loyalty, honor, self-respect, self-discipline, to be encouraged and motivated. These things are not naturally taught and just given. You have to teach them, and the parent is the one that is in a very unique position to do that. So it begins with communication. You first make your child understand why these tools are important. Accountability is one of the biggest things that I find parents, they don't hold their kids accountable for. They don't hold their kids accountable for what they say, nor what they do. So now they get a free pass to be disrespectful and not be held accountable for it. And then what happens when their child grows up and get out into the workforce, then they get a job and function in society, there's accountability out there, and the child is unprepared. So it begins at home by reestablishing order, structure, and developing a style at home that's going to be conducive for their development. Good morning. Welcome to Ask the Chief. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Fantastic. What's your question?
Okay. My question is, this is regarding my children. Okay. I have always been like the lenient parent and, giving in to my children. But now it's like when I want to be serious or when I want them to take me serious and listen to what I'm saying, they don't listen. They won't listen, and they won't take me seriously. How can I regain that respect or regain that control or that authority back?
What is the average age of your children?
Well, teenage 14, and have two older ones that are like over 20.
Okay. That would first begin with communication. You sit down with your youngest and explain how things have been, and very lovingly explain how they're going to change. That has to be first, just through communication, talking, and as far as taking you serious, they have to understand their role, that they are the child. You can even give examples and ask them, if you were a parent, would you tolerate being spoken to this way? just begin that way through a communication, through changing their mind. You change their mindset and how they think, you'll change their behavior. So you begin that way in a slow process of that, and you slowly begin to not reward bad behavior. You must set a standard that you will not tolerate being spoken to a certain way. You will not tolerate having your child not do what you tell them to do, and you establish that by when they do violate these things, then you don't reward that behavior. The little things you were doing, buying your son things and doing nice things for them, then those things are withdrawn because they didn't talk to you a certain way, or they didn't respond to what you wanted to be done. So whenever you start rewarding bad behavior, whatever you consider bad behavior is, first you communicate to what I'm not going to tolerate anymore. Then after you communicate that, and that's understood, and you make sure they understand what you're telling them, then when they continue that behavior, stop rewarding bad behavior. That's the beginning. Okay?
Okay, well, thank you.
You're most welcome, and thank you for calling.
Okay.
This is such a passionate topic with me, parenting. I go back to the beginning of why I started this campaign and why I got involved in this, because I was just so tired of, in my law enforcement career as a patrolman, arresting our juveniles and seeing, and processing them, seeing that these are not bad kids, that they just really, were misguided, misdirected. And the more I talked to them, the more I would interact with them at our detention center in our community, and I would go there and interact with these young men and talk to them and find out how they went wrong, and then talking to their parents. And I never want to have the image of I'm blaming the parent. I don't blame the parent, but someone has. You got to look at the big picture and say, why is this child behaving this way? Well, where does any child get the foundation of how what their character is? I mean, somebody has to be accountable for how this child is being raised and how their personality is being developed. In most cases, not in every case, but in most cases, a child's personality reflects their parent, who they're around the most. In most cases. And that's why we wrote the book, Change the Parent, Change the Child. But it was never written to mean where we are attacking the parent. See, I understand now that in my generation, when I was a kid, parenting was different. It was very, very different. Now, kids, the way they're raised now is very different than where our society is. And you have to fine tune and adjust your parenting style, because the way I was raised doesn't work now. The way I was raised, my parents would be in jail. Probably, let's see here, just now getting out of jail for, just basically pooping my behind and doing things they had to do to keep me in line. In today's society, you can't do that. They'll be calling 696 kids and causing all kind of problems for you. So I'll develop some styles and concepts that that work around the physical contact. That's better to me than physical contact. It's communication. It's setting a standard. It's setting a tone in the home that your child has no way around. Okay, I know you guys out there are watching and really enjoying this, because I really am. Again, this is my passion. But if you want to get in contact with us and want to know how you can have your question answered, then you can contact us at chiefastit@aol.com. That's chiefastit@aol.com. That's chiefastit@aol.com.